Good morning, and it's Lilia here from Heal Scotland, and all the way from Thailand. I have got my darling friend Vida Bee, and we're going to talk to you about loads of different things, but primarily to educate those who have never heard about family constellations, who are interested in family constellations and the new story, to chat a little bit about that, and then tell people about all the amazing events that between us we've got coming up this year. So it's going to be fun packed. So how are you, my darling?
I'm well, thank you. I'm very sweaty. It's really
Oh, what
hot.
a shame.
I know. I know. I went from like one extreme to the other. I went from Scotland to India into the mountains, and it was colder than in Scotland. And I said, "Oh, I
Really?
can't hack it anymore." And I came here, and now it's 40 degrees, and I'm like,
I know that's the thing, isn't it? Where it's trying to get that balance. I'm just moving around because the sun's starting to come in that window. The sun, yes, you heard.
"Get it on, yeah."
So let's talk about, just for people that have not um, experienced or been to any of your or anybody's workshops around family constellations, can you just explain a little bit about what it is exactly?
Sure. So, in the family constellations sessions, we're basically looking for what's unresolved in your family system. So you've got like this much awareness of a really big system behind you. You know, most of us don't even know past our great grandparents many details. Um, but within that family system, there are many people, but there are also many issues. I don't want to necessarily call them traumas, but there are issues or things that people couldn't process that remain unresolved, and they don't disappear, Lilia. They just come back, and some of us we come in and we're like subconsciously, oh, I'll pick that one up, I'll pick that one up, I'll pick that one up, and before you know it, you're playing out someone else's story. You're playing out something that's unresolved because it's desperately trying to be resolved through you. And of course, it doesn't really work. It doesn't ever get resolved, and you just get two two people in the family system with the same, or at least two, with the same issues. So what we're trying to do in these sessions is kind of follow. Say you've got an issue like I've got a problem with my knee, or I've got a problem with my partner, or I've got a problem with money, or I've got a problem with my daughter, or it can be absolutely anything. And we'll use that as the starting point, and then we follow where is that actually coming from. That's how it's manifesting in your life. And we wouldn't, most of the time, you can never even join the dots because you've got no idea of where it's coming from, where it started, because you don't really know all of the details of your family system and your family history. So we're finding out who does it belong to, and then we're separating it so that you don't have to carry it and live it out anymore. And we do that in a very special, beautiful way, really powerful, and blows my mind still after all these years. It's incredible. That's what we do in the sessions.
Yes, fantastic. And can you talk a little bit about the new story as well?
Yes. So how does constellation work link in with the new story? Well, I'll tell you a wee bit about constellations first. And what we're actually trying to do is we're trying to neutralize the idea of right doing and wrong doing, a victim and a perpetrator. Someone's done something right, someone's done something wrong, there's an injustice. So the family system memory, if you like, carries these injustices. And that's why we're trying to play them out. But what we do to stop you having to keep carrying that is we have to neutralize or dissolve this idea of injustice, and we have to accept that everyone did what they could with the tools that they had at the time, even if it was something that society would class as really unacceptable or bad or against the law. It's not that we're saying everything is okay, but we're saying that it happened, and that's all that the person could do or the choice that they could make in that moment. So if you're holding an idea that your father, for example, is violent, or aggressive and has not brought you up in the best way, or wasn't even there, for example, and you're holding some resentment towards him, you've got an idea that he's the baddie, right? And he might well be. It doesn't mean that all of his actions should just be absolved. But whilst you hold on to that idea, it starts to impact, and you start to get sick and you start to wither, because actually he's your life giver. And if you're not accepting life from its source, you're not going to continue to live very well. So the fact is, what we're trying to do is let go of these ideas, which is why I love working with you, because it's all about letting go. We're letting go of these ideas of justice, that you've been wronged or that someone else has been wronged, and we come into equal size. For example, the energy of a perpetrator is usually quite big, and the energy of a victim is quite small and squashed. And by the end of the constellation, they're equal and they're empowered and they're accepting of that they've both had a part in that somehow. So transfer that to the new story of the collective, of society, of how we're moving forward, is that we need to dissolve this separation. We need to work together to accept that even if we disagree, if we fundamentally disagree with someone else's point of view, it's not about a right and a wrong. It's not about injustice, or everyone has to do the same thing or believe the same thing or agree. It's about how do we actually work together to be different in our wholeness. So that's how we use constellations techniques when it comes to the new story. How do we move forward? What's your part in this collective new story where you can bring that through you, bring that and hold that, where we don't talk badly about each other, we don't slag folk off, and it's not about saying you have to be like super zen, meditate every day, yogi, vegan, any of that stuff. You can be exactly who you are, but it's the perspective that you hold and the viewpoints and what moves through you. That's the new story. So we're merging that and constellation work to be able to help us to dissolve all these conditions and ideas of the right thing and the wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely love that, because that's that neutral space, isn't it, that we talk about, where you're imperturbable, and no matter what is happening out there or in here, you can sort of observe it and be the feeler rather than the felt, which I think is really, you're just like, okay, I'm feeling that, but you're not creating a story around it, you're not making any drama around it, and you're not damaging your own cellular system.
Exactly. That's the main point, is that your cells are responding to these viewpoints, to what you're holding on to. And if you're holding on to a story, especially from when you were wee, for example, and you didn't get what you needed, because none of us actually did, even if you had the most perfect upbringing, there were still parts where you didn't get what you needed, because that's our soul journey, really, isn't it? But
Yes.
we carry what our parents can't handle, whatever their pain is from their parents. We come in and we're like, don't worry, I'll carry that for you. Lump it on your shoulders. And then you spend the rest of your life resenting them for you carrying their load. And actually, they never asked us, although sometimes we feel like we were left with no choice. So it's about neutralizing that kind of resentment or feeling unworthy or feeling less than, and how that moves through us in terms of anger, and how we communicate with people next to us, whether it's our family, our partners, our colleagues, our friends, people in the street. So ready to snap. Everyone, it's really important more now than ever, is how do we hold the perspective that if someone's acting out that way, they're also in pain. A
challenge,
person can't act normally like that, can't
It's not personal, but that when you're in it can be the really challenging part to not react, to respond. And also, I think there's a time, sometimes if you're just like totally cool with somebody who's furious, that makes them more furious. So there's, and I think that to me is the key thing, from the Sedona method perspective, we talk about our health, our wealth, and our relationships. That's the three areas where things can go well or not so well. But for me, actually, if you've got great relationships, then your health and your wealth will automatically align with that. So it's all about this.
Usually the other way around as well. If you're in good health, usually you're going to have good relationships as well. So it's all, which one comes first? None. They're all woven in together.
Well, if you're in good health, you've got the energy, you've got the understanding. If somebody's been nasty to you, it's always about how they're feeling. Maybe you're triggering or mirroring something that's in them, but ultimately that's really nothing to do with you. It's all about how we perceive it. And then it's 100% what we've been doing with the Heal Scotland challenges this year. We did intermittent fasting for January, and then we did breath work. And it's all about learning to manage yourself, manage your emotions, manage your thinking, manage your energy levels, because we have to, because NHS is crumbling right in front of our eyes. And I know you came to the Goddess Gathering in Edinburgh and in Glasgow, and I think what's so powerful compared to what I do is that you have a role play where people cannot get involved. They have to just watch and observe the story rather than if I may know what somebody needs to let go of, but if they're not ready, it's not happening. Whereas it's such a beautiful, non-aggressive, non-challenging way with family constellations, which is, the person, I know there's different ways to do it, but if you're sitting watching somebody else playing you, then you can see clearly. It just drops in, doesn't it, in a completely different way. It's not like, you said this and you did this. And then you can actually quite organically realise that you played a part. Whether you played the which part you played is irrelevant. It's just that you were there, so therefore you played a part. And then as you see it starting to unravel, and we saw it, didn't we? I think particularly in the Edinburgh one where you put all the ancestors up behind one girl, and everybody was crying, going, "Oh my God!" Yeah. Because I think that's the whole system that you just said it there, that's come behind you. I think in our culture in particular, we forget about it. We've really not got a huge amount of interest in it because we've not really understood. That the people that came before us allowed us to be here. They gave us life, but they also, a lot of them, fought and suffered and died for our freedoms. And then obviously somebody was talking at the Goddess Gathering in Dundee about being a good ancestor. So what are we leaving for the future generations to come? And the more work obviously we do in ourselves, I know it helps my children, it helps my grandchildren. So you want to be able to clear up as much of the mess that quite often we've created. In order for them to not have to carry the stuff that you've been carrying. And I think as well, it was very much, think about my dad, a very strong man, quite strong and silent type. And his way was just to say nothing. He used to say it to me all the time, say nothing. And I would just be like, no chance I'm saying nothing. I'm going to say, because that kind of, it was just like, you just had to go on with it. And to be honest, part of that works, I think. But there can be a lot of stuff under there, of course, that's just unresolved, and it can cause dis-ease and unease in the body.
There's so much, Lilia, that we just don't know. I mean, I knew that my grandfather was a prisoner of war, held in Thailand, and had to help build the bridge over the River Kwai for nearly 3 years. So I knew that, but he never spoke about it. And my dad and his siblings have always said, like, he just wouldn't speak about it. And that's really common, right? The horrors of war and imprisonment and so on. But my niece, so how many generations down, was having issues for about 3 years going to the toilet and just wouldn't go to the toilet. Still was going in a nappy, like a lot older than would be normal. And my sister had tried everything, all sorts of different doctors and medicines and so on. And we did a constellation on this issue, and it came up linked back to a story where during his time in prison, it wasn't safe for him to go to the toilet. And he had to go to the toilet where he was lying. It was safer to do it in his bed space than to go to the toilet. And so she was carrying this, and we released it. And 5 days later, now it had been 3 years, Lilia, and 5 days later, she went to the toilet, and has been ever since. So it was, there are so many things. He never spoke about that. Now, people would be like, how do you know that that's true? Well, actually, I don't. But does it matter? Because she went to the toilet. and the same thing people say all the time, if you've got a money issue and it links back to some slavery or some ancestors who betrayed other siblings over money or whatever it is, and you can't fact check it. But what you can do is come back to me in 6 months' time and tell me if your money issues have improved or not, because then do you really need to fact check it? We don't know about where the constellation wants to lead us and tell us what these stories are. But afterwards, it has a positive impact, and every single time it happens. So what I'm saying is, we don't know what they all went through. We absolutely carry it. And it is our duty, it's our legacy to the next generations to make sure we're clearing up as much as we can, instead of adding more to it by having this continued just keep silent and carry on. Because as we can see, it's not really working, and we don't need that anymore. There were certain generations that did need that because they needed to survive. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here through these wars and things. But, well, I know we're in a bit of a war at the moment, but we are the ones that can do this. We don't have to keep silent. We can share. It is safe to have emotions. It is safe to cry and to accept both this kind of strong masculine and also this feminine power, which got lost for all genders. I'm not just talking about the female gender. This softness got lost because now it's a sign of like vulnerability has been a weakness for many generations. So when we start to bring these things back in this maternal energy, a lot of healing happens.
Absolutely. And that's something we've noticed at every gathering, that the people who have been guest presenters have all been through pretty intense stuff. And that's what's made it. And then they start to navigate it, and then they want to share and help others. So the sharing of your vulnerability and how crap you once felt and how difficult you felt life was and how sometimes you just simply didn't want to be here. It allows other people to then go, oh, right, okay, she's felt like that too. She's willing to stand up and say it, but also she's managed to change and navigate it. So it's a really, really interesting, fascinating time to be in this planet. And I think the whole victim perpetrator thing is key for me. That's when we can, and Zach Bush talks about it a lot. He's saying, we're moving away from victim perpetrator into creation, and not being pushed by the pain of the past, but being attracted by our vision of the future. And that's the thing that can be really challenging for people to, when you're feeling so stuck, for want of a better word, how can you visualize and be excited? Because you really can't. That's why all this letting go is so powerful, because you naturally just get lighter and lighter. I was just talking to a comedian there, and we're talking about the power of laughing. I've been lucky in my life. I've got a lot of comedians and comedians. So I laugh a lot, pretty much every day. We laugh at laughing to me is a major release, and it just seems that people have to get so serious. And it's just like, no, 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 guys. None of us are getting out of this alive. We have to keep our sense of humour. We have to keep it light, and we have to have a level of excitement. Which brings us to your first event when you return from 40 degrees, which is the Scotland's Wild Medicine Festival in Skye. So you're going to be there. So I'm so excited, and we're going to be able to share family constellations at the festival. So that's going to be. Oh, wait till I tell you as well, one step at a time. Let's talk about the festival first, and then we'll talk about inner dance. So, yes, so you're going to be there at the festival, and so people will be able to. You're going to be there all weekend, aren't you?
Yes, I'm actually flying back especially for this, Lilia, because otherwise I would have come the next week right before the inner dance training. But that's like I said I was coming, so I'm absolutely coming.
Thank you, darling. You're going to have a brilliant time anyway. You're going to
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so people will be able to meet you in person and chat to you, because I know you do stuff online, and also we will be doing a workshop on family constellations at the Skye Festival.
Yes.
So for those who are thinking about buying a ticket, come along. You'll be able to meet Vida. She'll be there all weekend, and you'll be able to actually have a practical experience, because it's one of these things. Really, the only reason that I got into it was because I was doing the food for Vida's retreats, and so she kindly asked me, just said, join in if you want. Not something I still think the name of it's kind of doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
But because I actually experienced it, I was like, oh my God. And then obviously because my whole passion is letting go, I was like, this is letting go on a different level, and this circumvents the mind, which is absolutely powerful. So that's our first soiree together.
Yes.
28th,
first of many.
29th of April. Then we go pretty much straight into, a week later, the inner dance training. So do you know we had Caroline? Do you know Caroline Giorgio?
Yeah, she's coming to the.
She's coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
She did inner dance. Now, don't ask me why I never thought about doing inner dance at the other goddess.
I did wonder that actually.
I know my head is, but she came and did it in Aberdeen, and I put the biofield viewer on, and we measured the energy.
Oh, amazing!
So I'll send you the wee.
Cool.
Because Kirsten ended up, she was, she's obviously getting clips for marketing, but we'd put the biofield viewer through the big screen. She started to watch as the music changed, how the energy in the room changed. So she ended up becoming not really doing the inner dance that much, because she was like, what the hell?
Whoa, we need to show that to Serena. That's cool.
Well, we can do that at Bar Moloch for sure. I'll bring it up and we can project it onto the walls, because I think it just helps people to see the electromagnetic side of being human, because we're so we're so cut off, and also the power of sound. Now we know that. It was really interesting, because again, one of my friends, she just went, I hated that.
So many people hate it the first time.
I mean, I said, well, nobody ran out. I said, that's what normally happens at Bar Moloch. So, and also the other thing that I wished I'd kind of done a wee bit of a setup for, because we also did an amazing crystal bowl sound bath with hang drums. And, again, I should have recorded that and explained the difference in the setup of different ways to heal with sound. But we can talk and work and talk about all that when we have that week together.
Maybe we can put it when we're doing the constellation and see what happens.
Absolutely. And the HRV, I thought, as well, another great way, because all the amazing things that we're going to have at the festivals, we know they all work, right? Because we wouldn't do them, and we wouldn't waste our time teaching them if they didn't. But when people can see in their own body, oh, my nervous system completely relaxed there. Where are you going? And your heart rate changed, and your hormonal system changed. It's a very powerful feedback for people to say, right, okay, I know when I do that, that's going to happen. So it encourages people to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, remember at the Glasgow one in the constellation, and it was just the one word when she said brother, and remember when she said brother, and the whole room went, oof. It was like a wave just went right through the whole room, and then all this emotion came just from one word, unlocked in the field, unlocked this energetic kind of like resistance to acknowledging that there was pain with the brother. And like it would be really cool to see that, because we all felt it. We felt the movement, but really cool to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can do that. And so we've got the festival first, then we've got inner dance for the week, and then you and I are doing 2 retreats back to back, and you're going to be doing family constellations. So talk about that retreat. It's in September. Can't remember what it's called.
Mine or yours?
No, mine. Yours.
Well, it's a women's weekend retreat, like the normal ones, but the topic this one is pleasure and joy. So we're kind of moving a wee bit more into the Tantra field, but I know that that's a bit of a woo for some people. They think, oh, what am I going to be doing? Like getting my clothes off and gyrating around and that kind of thing. Like, no, no, because Tantra is life force. So it's not to do always with the genitals or having sex.
Yeah.
So we'll be investigating your own pleasure. And I don't mean always from the genitals. I mean just how you experience pleasure in your daily life and joy, and how we can, what's holding us back. So we'll be using constellation techniques as well. And then this one's going to be kind of, I say this every time, Lilia, right? But this one's going to be light and joyful. And then we get there and everyone's like, whoa. It's never my intention, but it happens, and it's always beautiful and perfect. But yeah, so that's what that one's going to be, a weekend of pleasure and joy and sisterhood. Right. With constellations and inner dance and cacao and cold water and all sorts.
All the good stuff. And then your retreat finishes on the Sunday, and I'm going to be bringing people in on the Sunday afternoon. So what we're going to do is a 3-day water fast, but we're going to have our last meal, a biodynamic, amazing meal in the cafe at 4 o'clock on the Sunday. And there's going to be a turnaround of the cottages so that my group can get in, or maybe some people will stay, who knows. And then we're going to go on a 72-hour water fast, finishing with another biodynamic meal at the end. So it's from the Sunday to the Thursday. Raya, go and sit down. Sorry, this dog. Go sit down. Sit down, Night. And what we're going to be doing, you're going to take the Monday with family constellations. So it's all going to be about letting go. It's stripping everything back to the bones, get the food out, get everything out, get the ancestral stuff out. There's going to be a lot of breath work. We were doing some incredible breath work on our last 3-day fast. It's just so much easier to get into state.
I definitely, with no food, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll do the emotion codes. We're going to do the healing codes. We're just going to have a whole program. Obviously need to work a wee bit with everybody's energy, how it goes, cold water if possible. So it's going to be a phenomenal, like it's really over 4 days, 3 days of that on water, and obviously EFT and dealing with the cravings and any addictions and any stories that are still hanging on. So thank you for being part of that as well.
Sounds brilliant.
The 3-day water extravaganza, because of experiencing water in various different ways.
Wow. The power of water.
Oh, absolutely. So have you got anything else? Is that all that's in the
I've got a couple of other things. I've got on the 17th of March, it's online actually, so because I'll still be here, and I'm doing a 3-hour archetypes workshop, which is actually my favourite workshop that I host, and it's so beautiful because there's no family stuff involved, there's no stories, there's no heaviness. It's about looking at about 4 of the archetypes that are, which ones are running your life and how are you showing up with them all. So there's the Queen, the Warrior, the Witch, and the Lover. So technically, when you're in balance, these are all working as a team, right? So your Queen's given the orders to run the kingdom. And when there's a danger or an attack imminent, she calls on the warrior. But how does she know when she should do what she should do? She needs to seek counsel from the witch. And obviously you've got the lover, who is the pure joy. And usually what you find is the queen is either some kind of tyrannical beast or is completely shut down, because the warrior's in charge of everything, on constant alert of danger, danger, danger. So, and the witch is usually just completely either out, never been heard of in her whole life, she's never been listened to, or she's only the one that's listened to. I only follow my intuition, and everything, all the other ones are not there. And then quite often the lover is either jaded or is looking for validation in the wrong places. So it's very interesting. We use constellations. Someone represents each of your archetypes. Everyone's is different. And you also represent the other people. So you get a lot of insight for your own situation, but then also by representing in someone else's, you get insight to one of those other roles. And there's so much healing in it, and it's very fast and it's a lot of fun. And then I give lesson on how to balance them and take away tips how to work with them each day to know which one's actually controlling me in this part of the day, which one is responding right now. I'm in a bit of a challenge situation. Which archetype's leading right now? And, how do you want to work with that? So it's really, really interesting, and it's fun. And then also the other thing to say is at the end of May, we've got this inner dance community thing down in Wales at Spirit Horse, and that's a 4-day long weekend, 23rd, the Thursday to the Monday. I think it's the 23rd to the 27th, something like that. And that's where we're basically trying to join inner dance communities and make one big community. It's going to be really fun, that one.
And also we've got the Great Goddess Gathering as well.
Yes, so we've got the Great Goddess Gathering on I think it's the weekend of the 5th of July.
Yes.
Down in Wales, and that's going to be absolutely there's so much going on in that beautiful land, Dragonland, and right next to the river, being again held by the water. And Amy's got a really amazing lineup for that, with medicine music and also workshops as well. So it's not just a music festival. There's also a lot of really good workshops. I'll be there. We'll be doing inner dance. We'll be doing constellations. We'll be doing tantra, and then there's loads of other facilitators. You'll not be there. You'll be sunbathing.
No, I am there at the Great Goddess Gathering.
Yeah. It's the Spirit Horse, you're not there.
Yes. No, I'm going to be letting go at the Great Goddess Gathering, so that's fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
So obviously, people can get out my retreats and the festivals, etc., on the Heal Scotland site, which you should be on.
Yes.
Where can people get the information to your retreats and to the Goddess Gathering, etc.?
The best thing actually at the moment is going to be my website, which is vidahealing.me, because I've just had I don't know if it's like the universe telling me, but my Facebook was hacked and suspended. So I've lost all my contacts, all my followers, everything. I can't get back into it at all. So I'm kind of like quite relieved in a way, because I don't like having to be on Facebook, but also at the same time, I'm not sure what else to do, how to keep people in the loop. So everything that I've got registered, I need to speak to Kirsten actually, because everything that I've got registered for contact details is kaput now. So I've just set up a new Facebook, so I'll put that on there, but everything's on the website, and I'll get round to putting all my events on the Heal Scotland page as well.
Let me put it in the comment box. Vida, what?
Vidahealing.me. Yeah.
Okay, that should go out on all the platforms. Cool. Right, so I think that's good. So we've got that's 4 different events we're going to be at together. That's fantastic. And then we can discuss what else we can throw in there.
Well, I think so. I think we'll be getting some other stuff offered in there between us as well once we get time to have a wee chat about it.
I know. And did you know that I've got the Hebridean Inn in Skye for January and February as a kind of pop-up healing centre?
No, because I saw earlier you were like, oh, all proceeds go to the new healing centre, and I was like, oh, where is it? Amazing.
So John's, it's an 8-bedroom hotel that we can use. We're just raising the money to pay for it so that we can run things there. And then what I'm thinking like next year is have a day centre somewhere a bit in, in the central belt where we can teach. A nice venue where people can come and get all the good stuff that they need.
Wonderful.
So yeah, it's all happening.
Brilliant. Good stuff, Lilia. Good job.
Great. So I will see you very soon. The end of April. Tomorrow's March. My God, it's crazy, isn't it?
I know.
Totally crazy. And give my love to Amy. Enjoy the 40 degrees. You'll be back before you.
Look at my rosy cheeks.
Well, I'm just looking out the window here going, take me out. So try and get out.
She said to me earlier, how do you feel about your meeting with Lilia? I was like, I'm looking forward to it because I really need a laugh. It's like I feel like things have been serious, and I'm like, I always just have a laugh when I chat with Lilia. So yeah, it's been good. Thank you.
You're welcome, darling. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your stay, and I'll see you in April.
Okay, love you.